Hi everyone, I am Amal Ridene and I am a Tunisian young climate change negotiator here at COP28 in the World Bank Group, IMF and Financial Times Pavilion. With me today in this Expert Corner video series, Mr. Felipe Jaramillo, who is the World Bank Vice President for Latin America and the Caribbean. Welcome.
Thank you
Thank
very
you for
much,
joining
Amal.
me today.
Thank you, Amal.
All right, so I've got a couple of questions for you. And I know that aside from your work in the Latin American region, you have already had a position of being a country director in some African countries. Coming from Africa myself, and I can relate a lot with what's happening in Latin America, I'm really curious to know about your views of what is at stake for the Latin America region, but also more broadly the global south in this COP. I mean, I'm following a bit from the negotiation side, but I'm curious to know your personal view from also the World Bank side.
Thank you, Amal. Thank you for the question. So look, there's a lot in common between what's happening to Africa in regards to climate and what's happening to Latin America. I'll tell you two things that are my biggest concern and very similar. First is that the countries of Africa, just like the countries of Latin America, have not contributed much to the problem.
Absolutely.
They were not the ones who emitted all this CO2 and all these gases that are creating the climate problem.
For
And
Africa,
yet many of the problems that the climate is causing are being felt by the people in the countries. The Caribbean and the Central American countries, every year there's a hurricane season. And this can be very destructive storms, and climate change is making them more frequent and more deadly and more destructive. So we are very concerned with that and trying to help these smaller countries deal with that kind of thing. The other very big thing that is common between Africa and Latin America is that we both are host to large forests. Few of the tropical rainforests that are left in the world are, of course, in the Congo Basin.
Yes.
And in Latin America, mainly South America, mainly the Amazon. 8 countries surround the Amazon. Brazil has a huge chunk, but also Colombia, Peru, and others. And making sure that that forest that captures a lot of carbon and also hosts a lot of biodiversity and a lot of people and original people and people who have come to that area, it's very important for that forest to remain standing. And a lot of it had been deforested in recent years. And I'm very happy to see here at COP a lot of enthusiasm to find new ways to make sure that the deforestation is stopped. And I think that's something that we in the World Bank, we want to support.
Okay, and yeah, actually that's kind of linked to my follow-up question is, what is the role of the World Bank, or what the World Bank is currently doing to support this context, particularly in Latin America, since that's your geography of focus?
Yes. Well, we're doing a lot, but especially on this area of the Amazon, there's a lot of energy and enthusiasm.
Okay.
Several governments have really gotten together, and they want to make sure to double up on their efforts to ensure that both command and control, to ensure that the areas that are protected are not deforested, and we can help with that. And also the lives of the people who live in these areas, they can exploit nature-based solutions, the bioeconomy, and not have settlers come and raise all the trees and then try to have cattle or something like that.
Yeah.
But good ways that are sustainable in the medium and long run for the families to stay there. We are really supporting with a lot of interest and a lot of support all these forest and nature-based conservation and sustainable exploitation. That is a huge focus for us. The other big focus is ensuring that the natural resources that are in Latin America that are useful for the global transition. For example, Latin America has several countries have the highest deposits of lithium and copper.
Yeah.
And those two elements are absolutely critical to make sure that we have a transition to cleaner energy. There's also several countries that have great potential for green hydrogen, which is another clean source of energy.
It also connects to Africa.
Exactly. So we have just extended our first green hydrogen loan to a country, the World Bank, and it's a loan to Chile. We have given a loan to a huge bank in Brazil,
Okay.
so that they can give loans to lots of SMEs, that they can do sustainable kinds of enterprises that are clean and they're greener. So lots to do, and we're very excited about that.
All the best, yeah. We'll keep an eye. Thank you for sharing this. My final question to you would be, yeah, I mean, I have my own opinion on this, being a young person myself, but curious to know your point of view, having witnessed several developments on this climate change journey. What do you think is the role of young people in climate action? We know there is this narrative of, yeah, we young people are now the ones responsible on making all of this happen, and then other young people still see that, yes, we are actually responsible to still making the change happen and to contribute to an active action, because, yeah, this is our future that is at stake and the future of future generations. So curious to know from you, where do you think is the young people, although while recognize that this is not a homogeneous mix, but where do you think the role of young people comes in this puzzle of climate action?
I think young people have become really important in changing attitudes, especially towards moving to a cleaner future, both green production, but also cleaner energy. I see it in all the countries. The politicians that have been elected most recently, young people have really brought up these concerns about the future. Of course, because they are going to live in this new world, and their children. And I am really excited, very happy to see how young people are participating in changing the way that governments and politicians view these things. They have become critical. The reason why a lot of Latin America has moved towards cleaner energies is because of the pressure of young people. So I think they need to keep doing more of that, and we're very happy at the World Bank. We also try to get youth energized and continue to do these things, so we support them in this work. I think it's fabulous what they're doing.
That's great news, and I also can relate from Africa. The continent is forecasted to be the youngest. I think 1/3 of the young people will be in Africa by 2050, and I think even though we didn't actively contribute to this, we need the right set of skills and the adaptability measures to be able to survive this, to be able to make it work. And it's important that young people are dealt with as an equal, capable party in the equation, not as an external stakeholder, often youth-washed, tokenistic. So it's important that the role of young people is actually implemented or like valorized, if anything, in this whole collaborative common crisis that we are all trying to survive. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
You're very welcome, Amal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed the conversation, and stay tuned for more Expert Corner videos with us. Thank you.